Hello and welcome back to Avalon. I'm so glad you could find us. And today we're doing a reading for Taurus. Now today I actually have a timer on to try and keep me on time because I swear I could just keep going forever with some of these reads. The last one wound up being almost an hour. And I'm hoping to get these out every day, if not several a day, and that's never going to happen if I start at an hour for each of them. So I've already shuffled. I already kind of took my impressions on this Taurus energy, and I've already selected our layout, as you can see. We've got a card for recent past, a card for the Taurus physical, emotional, and mental space, and then we have an outcome card. And I just want to reiterate that any outcomes you might see in my readings are always subject to change, okay? While I do believe that we have destiny, we also have free will. So while you might be en route for a particular outcome in a situation, even just hearing this reading or talking, anything can change that, okay? You make a decision, one little decision differently, and the outcome can change. What else? My readings are timeless, so if there's a headline that catches your eye, it might be for you. It doesn't matter when it was recorded. If it's an important message for you to hear, no matter what sign, you'll feel drawn to it, okay? Or it'll catch your eye in some way, shape, or form. Let's see what else. House cleaning stuff. Nothing else. All right. The last thing I wanted to point out was I did something a little different today. I have a deck of cards called the Karma cards, and they use the planets, the signs, and the houses of astrology to provide you with a message, okay? So I've selected a planet card, a sign card, and a house card. Obviously, I haven't looked at any of these cards yet. We'll go over that at the end as guidance for the situation that we've gone through. And I've also picked out an angel oracle therapy card. So hopefully that will also give you some very pertinent guidance as to how to deal with the situation that we're going through there. Okay? Alrighty then. So what I was getting in the pre-shuffle just before we start is that I'm connecting with a Taurus, or at the very least a person watching who, you know, could be a cross watcher of a different sign, watching about their Taurus they know, or they have their Venus in, you know, whatever area. If you know enough about astrology, you can pretty much watch any sign and see how it applies to your life. What I was getting in the pre-shuffle and everything was that I'm connecting with a Taurus who is feeling unfulfilled in the realm of family or emotional relationships. I'm connecting with a Taurus who feels like there is an imbalance going on in the give and take in that relationship, okay? And I'm connecting with a Taurus who, or a person watching, doesn't have to be Taurus, who no longer wants to have to compete for this equality, compete for the person, compete for the happiness. And what I'm getting as well is that the basis of this issue comes from the lesson that is also paradox, the lesson of understanding that if we want abundance, we have to put out the energy of abundance. Otherwise, we are putting out the energy of lack, and that is what the universe, that is what God will bring to you, okay? All right, let's get into, hold on. Where is my, oh, just lost it. Sorry. One sec, guys. Gents and ladies, All right. Let's get into the reading with the recent sort of past energy card, okay? All right, so we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. All right. So the Two of Pentacles, all about the 3D realm, all about what you're experiencing in the physical. The two of this deck, or this suit, is about attempting to achieve balance. And in reverse, what I'm understanding is that you've been juggling. You've been attempting to juggle possibly too much when it comes to this relationship that you're feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled in, okay? Especially when it comes to that give and take. I think this card denotes that in the recent past, you've been juggling, you've been doing too much, more than your fair share, and you've been juggling it. All this stuff, this extra stuff you have to do because the other person isn't pulling their weight, or because you yourself are agreeing, you're taking on too much and you're allowing the other person to take on less, right? It's not necessarily that they're trying to do it, it might be that you are, okay? So I see that this attempt at balance has been difficult. It's been a lot of you're wholly in one energy dealing with one issue, and then you're wholly in another, and you feel like you're never really striking that middle ground of like, I can breathe for a second, I did a little bit of this, I did a little bit of this, and I still feel like my feet are on the ground, right? It seems like you're overwhelmed, essentially, and it may have been causing a lot of like emotional spats over this, okay? But again, that's your recent past. Yeah, okay, let's move on to the Taurus current physical, okay? All right. All right. So, the Taurus physical realm at this moment, we got the Two of Wands in reverse, okay? Now the Two of Wands, wands are the element of fire. They correspond to desire, career, passion, that whole realm, okay? The two of this suit represents a choice that needs to be made. This individual is in an energy at the moment of the beginning of the journey and deciding, what I'm getting is to leave or stay, or really to stay or leave. And I think you probably were feeling stuck in the relationship and looking out at the rest of the world, what you have, out at the rest of the world and the other opportunities, okay, other opportunities. I think you've made your decision. And I'm connecting with a Taurus or a viewer who has decided to leave. And they've decided that they don't want to compete anymore, perhaps for a fair share within a relationship. And again, it could be a work relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a family dynamic, or a romantic. I'm getting romantic off this, but that it doesn't mean that for some of you it could be another situation, okay? So I'm getting the decision was made to leave a relationship, a situation that has felt very, very unbalanced, where you had to compete with others for the attention of your partner, of your coworker, boss, whatever the case is, okay? And you're in a place right now where that's just not what you don't want to have to compete for that, right? And you know, maybe you shouldn't have to, right? Yeah, okay. There's something else around this competition issue, though, that I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. Oh, right, okay, yeah. It might even be for some of you that it's not so much that you had to fight for, or that you had to compete for the attention of this person, so much as it is that you've had to compete with this person for balance, just to have balance in the relationship, so that you can both be fulfilled. Again, I'm still getting that the issue stems from this paradox again of you know, when we want more, typically that's the energy we put out, that we don't have enough and we need more. But that's not actually the most efficient way to go about it, because when you really do, when you want more but you put out the energy that you have everything you need, sometimes that means giving. That's when you're more likely to receive your full abundance, okay? So if you are coming from a place of holding on very, very, very tightly to what you do have because you feel like you don't have enough and you want more, what you're putting out is that energy, okay, that you don't have enough and that you need more. That's just going to bring more situations to you in your life where you don't have enough and you need more. You can have the exact same amount of stuff, exact same amount of thing, but change your perspective so that instead of seeing it as, this is all I have and I need like 6 more of these or something. Instead of having that energy, you can look at it and say, this is all I have. And it is so much, I have so much, I'm gifted with so much, I am grateful for so much that I have, that even though this is all I have, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. That is true unconditional love. That is the essence of abundance, to be able to give. To be able to give and not be afraid that you won't have enough. And when you do that, that's when you start putting out the energy that you have more than you need. And then the universe, God, whatever you believe in, starts bringing to you the energy that you're putting out, and that is of abundance, okay? All right, let's move on to the emotional or heart space of the reading. Man, we're getting all reverse cards here, and I'm wondering, yeah, okay, I'm wondering if the deck needed to be flipped over, but I don't see that. Alrighty, so in the emotional space, the heart space, we get the 7 of Swords, okay? Seven of Swords. So this person's kind of sneaking away with 5 of 7 swords here, okay? Swords represent, the swords represent the mind, truth, so, problems and solutions, and communication, and the element of air, okay? In the emotional space, what I'm getting for this is somebody who, okay, so first I want to explain this energy just a little bit. So the 7 of this suit represents to me sort of an unnecessary energy, okay? It's about unnecessarily, again, taking more than you need, essentially. It's sort of frantic energy that, you know, the comments, the unnecessary comments we make when somebody says something that hits us in like a core wound, you know, and we lash out without really thinking about it. It's because it's coming from such a painful place, okay? And again, I'm connecting with the Taurus who's done with that. They're done with this. They don't want to take more than their fair share. They don't want to. Again, it's this whole issue of balance, of flow, and of perspective on abundance that relates to the law of attraction. So again, this Taurus is in this space of I'm seeing a wise Taurus who's made a lot of important realizations in a relationship, whether it's work, familial, social, romantic, you know how this applies to you, okay? If the card were upright, I would say that this is a Taurus who is in a place where they are dealing with an emotional hurt that is spurring them on in some unnecessary actions, spurring them on to say things they don't mean in communication in this dynamic, right? But in reverse, I'm seeing it as this person no longer wants to be doing that, okay? I think it's probably the energy that they've been in when it comes to dealing with this person, this imbalanced relationship where they've had to compete to get what they need. They've had to compete to just get their basic needs met. And they don't want to do that anymore. And they also don't want to say something that they don't mean. This Taurus is trying to come out of that energy of lack, the energy of self-deception. Okay? I think this Taurus, if not mentally yet, they're emotionally realizing just how much they have. So that I believe that that's the emotional lesson that they're dealing with right now. I think they've already made the decision to leave this dynamic, and I feel that they're working on this understanding of their own self-deception. So they're working on their understanding of how they got in this situation. So how do you get to a point in a relationship where things are so imbalanced? You know, you have to compete just to get your your basic needs met. All right, please forgive that. That is the timer. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is set for just another 10 minutes, and if we're not done then, c'est la vie. It's how we have to go forward. All right. Here we go. All right, but since I'm only through 3 cards, we're going to keep moving on. Again, like I was saying, this Taurus is trying to understand their own self-deceptions in regards to this relationship, in regards to balance, and in regards to understanding that how you perceive what you already have is your choice. And if you choose to perceive what you have as lack, that is your choice, and it is a form of self-deception. Okay? Now, sometimes we really are in a state of lack, but we still get the choice to choose whether or not that's how we perceive it. Okay? So you might be unhappy in a relationship and really are not receiving enough. But when you come from trying to understand that from that place, you can end up with a really messy situation, a really acrimonious situation, where everyone seems to be just clawing for just to get enough, okay, just to get their needs met. And when you start coming at it, the issue from a place of, okay, how can we meet our needs? Or how can I give as much as I can possibly give to you without infringing on my own needs? That's the lesson. That's what the Taurus is trying to understand right now in their emotional space. However, they might be trying to understand it with their mind, which, when it comes to emotional issues, can often be a recipe for disaster, or at least not work very well. All right, we're moving on to the mental space. All right, we have the Chariot. This is a great card. It's a major arcana card, which suggests this is a huge change that's happening for this Taurus, or our watcher today. So the Chariot, interestingly enough, has to do with the sign, the astrological sign of Cancer, which is where we are right now in the zodiac. We are in the sign of Cancer. Okay. Cancer, there's a lot to do with dualities, polar opposites in Cancer. Okay, there's the whole basic idea is Cancer is the sign is the crab, right? And the crab is both soft and hard, and just like that, the Cancer is both soft and hard. They're the most nurturing sign of the zodiac, but at the same time, they have this shell of protectivity, especially of their loved ones. Okay, they might let where a Cancer might allow themselves to be treated poorly, but they certainly don't allow their loved ones to be treated poorly. Okay, and here we see that duality again, the dark and the light, the masculine, the feminine principles, duality. And again, the mind, which is where we found this card, is represents the 4th dimension, which is all about duality, because that's how the mind understands things. It categorizes, it separates things into this and that, us and them, the self and the other. Okay, but what I'm seeing right now for this Taurus is that exactly what we were talking about. This Taurus has already decided to leave this situation. As we can see with the 2 of Wands at the bottom in the physical, they're looking out at the world. They're looking out at the water. Okay, where at one point they did have one foot planted in the relationship. That's done. Okay, they're looking out. They're moving forward, and these stone lions in front of this Chariot. This card. Yeah, this is Chariot card. These stone lions will move, and this will this will be moving forward. It's a forward moving energy is what I'm trying to say. So this Taurus in the mind space, they're all about that forward movement right now. They're all about understanding their value, understanding what they have to offer, understanding they are trying Give me 1 second. This Taurus is trying to understand that duality, the paradox of that, almost the concept of less is more. Like, if you want more, appreciate having as little as you possibly can, you know, like appreciate the very smallest itty bitty bits of your life in what you have. That's the way to move forward, as opposed to focusing on the bits that you don't have. Okay? This Taurus is trying to put emphasis on what they can be grateful for moving forward. And I think that's the way to go. I think that that is literally what will turn the wheel for them. Yeah, I think that understanding this paradox around holding on too tightly to what you have in order to get more, understanding that is going to help move them forward. Okay, moving on to the okay, which was like this, which goes like that. Okay, so we get the 10 of Swords in reverse. Now don't be frightened here. Yes, it is a scary looking card, and it's funny that I should start this reading saying, if it's a scary looking outcome, don't worry. Every choice you make changes your future, okay? But again, this was in reverse. And it suggests that this person, this Taurus that I'm connecting with, will be moving out of this energy we were talking about of self-deception, okay? We refer to this emotional space card as sort of coming out of that self-deception of thinking that, you know, your needs are more important than others. Yes, our needs are very important, and yes, if we don't look after ourselves, probably nobody else will. But our needs are just as important as others, and no more so, okay? This card traditionally has to do with betrayals. Often they can be more like communicative betrayals, like somebody that's talking badly about you behind your back, or something of the like. But it also has to do with self-victimization. So it also has to do with the ways in which we act and think that put ourselves in the place of the victim. Yes, sometimes we are the victim in situations. That doesn't mean we have to be in the energy of thinking of ourselves as a victim, okay? And in this situation with this Taurus, they were having an issue with a boss or a coworker, a friend, or a loved one, where there was a really big imbalance in give and take, okay? And this Taurus tried to juggle it for a long time, and it didn't. They weren't emotionally satisfied. They still weren't giving, they still weren't receiving what they felt like they deserved to be receiving, okay? They made a choice to leave, and they are working on emotionally dealing with this self-deception around giving and receiving, okay? So it's hard to explain in the sense that like they're both right and wrong. You know, you're both right and wrong to feel the way you do about this situation. Yes, you deserve to receive equally that which you give in a relationship, okay? But your mentality about it has everything to do with the outcome, okay? Oh my Lord. Lord of mercy. Okay. So what I see is a Taurus who is releasing themselves from self-victimization, okay? This is a Taurus who isn't going to let an imbalanced relationship wear them down through overgiving anymore. But they're also a Taurus who is not going to lie to themselves or deceive themselves anymore by saying or thinking or communicating with themselves or the universe or others that they don't have enough, okay? This Taurus is now coming from a place where they do have enough. This Taurus is now coming from a place where they want to give equally and receive equally. They're coming from a place where they're not deceiving themselves about the lesson. They're not deceiving themselves about, how do I say this, about the law of attraction, right? They're no longer deceiving themselves about the abundance that they do have in their physical world. This Taurus is now appreciating and being grateful for what they have, and that is releasing them from the darkness of this self-victimization, because when you're in that energy, that's all you're bringing to you is more victimizing, you know, like whether it's just one bad thing after another happens, it keeps happening, and you're going, how on earth could this possibly be? How could somebody be this unlucky, right? Just the same as when somebody has a streak of good luck, they're in a positive space and they're bringing good stuff to them. This person was in I don't want to say negative space, but an energy of lack, and that's what they were bringing to themselves. I'm seeing right now, in this a Taurus who is making that change and coming out of that lesson. Okay, moving on to our karma cards. We have the planet of Neptune, which is a really interesting planet that I'm just learning more about, and it has a lot to do with psychic energy. I'll just show you the picture quickly. I don't know how well you can see that, but the sign is Aquarius. Beautiful. And the house is the first house, okay? Alrighty then. So, I'm going to read out a few things here, and yeah, okay. So, the idealization of genius to experiment with who you are. Okay, this is the message these cards are bringing you. All right, sacrifice resulting from the eccentricity of your actions. This is exactly what has happened. You've had to sacrifice a particular relationship and sacrifice the self-victimization template, the lack mentality, right? And you've had to do that because of how your actions coming from that energy, how they've unfolded in a relationship for you, okay? And another guidance that they want me to point out is a special message for this Taurus. Inspire others with your vision immediately, okay? So this Taurus who's learned this lesson of releasing that self-victimization, pardon me, template of understanding the lesson of give and take of the law of attraction better, share that lesson with others, share that with the, if you're still in contact with them, share it with the person you who you're dealing with in this dynamic, or share it with your family and friends, or share it online, okay? It's an important lesson that we learn at this time. So few people know anything about it. All right, so our Angel Oracle card is past life issue. The situation has a basis in one of your previous lifetimes. Ask your angels to help you remember, release, learn, and heal from your past experiences. Beautiful card, okay? All right, so that is again, a message from the angels that I'm getting that it's a self-victimization template that comes from a past life for one of you at the very least. I do believe that we live multiple lives. I think we don't remember them for a reason. It's part of the training ground that is Earth, okay? Yeah, so there we go. Thank you so much for tuning in and finding me here in Avalon. I hope that this message reached the person it was meant to reach. I hope that it helped. And please join me on Instagram as Avalonist Liberated. And I post cards of the day, and I post links to these videos as well there. So please join me. And thank you again for visiting Avalon. Love you all, and peace to you all.